Good afternoon, students. Welcome once again to the online classes brought to you by Sri Vidyamandir Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Utangarai. Hope you are all doing well and staying safe at home and at the same time following the lessons very keenly. Students, today we are now going to look into question 46 in your public question paper, that is regarding error spotting. Error spotting, it carries 5 questions, each carrying a mark, which is very simple. Most of the students dread to attend this, but I think this is one of the easiest questions that you should easily handle. Error spotting, it is nothing but the ability of the students to detect an error in the given sentence. One should never panic before answering this question. He should keenly observe the sentence, as it is only to confuse him or to cleverly cheat him. The questions might be tricky at times, but it is your duty to keenly observe the sentence and then easily find out which part of the sentence carries an error. Error spotting increases your vocabulary skills and makes you to write and speak your English language in a better way. Now, as soon as you look at the 5 questions that will be given, in the given sentence, read the sentence once or twice, don't panic, and then check which part of the sentence contains the error. The error might be in the form of articles. It can be in the nouns where the singular plural may be wrongly given. It may be in the spellings. It may contain an error in the conjunctions. It might contain an error in the use of adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, miscellaneous like usage, tenses, conditional clauses, and so on. It is more than enough for this standard if you go through these topics thoroughly, and if you learn your grammar well, you will definitely handle this question very easily. Now, let us see, as far as it is possible in the given stipulated time, to look at each of these segments. Let us look at these segments individually. Now, let us take the segment articles. If the sentence contains an error in the article, it should be easily detected. What are the articles? The articles are a, an, and the. A and an are the indefinite articles, whereas they is a definite article. A and an is used only for singular things, whereas the can be used for plural as well as for particular things. Now let us run through quickly through the usage of a and an. A is used normally before a consonant sound. Consonant sound. And is used before a vowel sound. Both denote one. Both denote a singular thing only. You have to be very careful in this. You can be easily fooled. The sound matters and not the first letter. For example, I can write a hotel, a horse. an umbrella. This is easy for you because vowel, U is a vowel, so I use an. Horse, it's a consonant sound, so I use a. But there will be tricky questions also. For example, you can see I saw one-eyed man. One-eyed man. One-eyed man. Now, what should I put here, a or an? Definitely, it is a and not an. It may be a vowel, but this vowel has the consonant sound one, W. So, I use a instead of an. Whether it is one-eyed man or it is a 1 rupee coin, it doesn't matter. Similarly, it might be European, U. This is U sound, again a consonant sound. So I saw, I met. I don't use I met an European, I say I met a European. This you should not get fooled. Similarly, you will have useful, unit. All these are examples for consonant sound where I use a, not an. Similarly, I will be having words like honor, honorable, honorary. All these, in these words, the H is silent and it begins with R. This is a vowel sound and hence I use an R, an honorable person. I don't say a honorable person, I don't use a honest. So, these are the tricky things you should be coping with and you should not falter. They might easily trick you. Enemy soldiers. Enemy soldiers. See, here E is there, enemy, A and anything might be given. But you should never get fooled. Because it is an E, I cannot use A or an because the word here, soldiers, plural. So, when it is in the plural, I cannot use a and an because a and an denotes only one thing. So, definitely it should be the. This tricky one, you should be very careful. Similarly, in the university, I studied in dash university. Now I can use, this is U, this is again U sound, so I use a and not an. But this same question was given in a tricky way. I studied at University of Mysore. Now, should I put, the question was given like this. And most of the students, they simply took away this and they put E, which is wrong because the University of Mysore is a definite thing, particular thing, and so I cannot use A also, I should use the. I studied in the University of Mysore, not in a university. So, you have to be careful here. Now coming to the usage of the, where do I use the? I use the for a particular thing, a thing which is particular. For example, a repeated noun, a repeated noun. If I say, I saw a beggar, I have used I saw a beggar. Next sentence I say, dash beggar. I say something about the dash beggar was very old. Now what do I use here? Here, since I have already mentioned the beggar, this same beggar is being repeated here again, and hence I should see that I should use, this is the particular beggar, and hence I should use the beggar. If it is a full stop and the sentence begins, next sentence begins, it should begin with the capital D, T, that you should take care. Similarly, you should see that you don't use a beggar because it will relate to some other beggar. You have to be very careful. I saw a beggar. The beggar was very old, refers to the same beggar, so it is a repeated noun. So here I use the. I use the to represent a whole class of people. I can say, for example, we should help the poor. I cannot say a poor. The poor means the whole class of people who are very poor. I should use the poor. Similarly, I say the question will be like this: cow is a useful animal. Now most of them will go for this and say an useful, which is wrong. A useful, U is consonant sound, so A is correct. So the cow is a useful animal. If it is given just cow is a useful animal, then an useful animal, then you correct it as A. But if it is given as cow is a useful animal, then you add this the. It represents the whole class of cows. So representing a whole class, then when before the superlatives, I use the wisest person, the richest man. The superlative, the. Similarly, after the superlative, I use the before unique objects. The earth, the moon, something like that. Something which is unique. Similarly, I use it before holy books. I use it before groups of islands or states. The USA, the USSR, the Tinian Islands, the Andaman Islands, group of islands. Holy books, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Bible. Similarly, I use it before musical instruments. I know how to play the piano, not a piano. I know how to play the piano, musical instruments. Before directions, I use the before east, west, north, south. The east, the west. The sun rises in the east. The sun is a unique object. The direction west, the east. I use the before any designation. The collector, the principal, the correspondent. Before that I use the. Similarly, I use it before the names of rivers, before the names of forests, before the names of oceans and seas, deserts and mountain ranges. I say the Nile, the Ganges. I say this is the Arabian Sea, the Bay of Bengal, desert, the Sahara Desert, the Thar Desert, the Himalayas, the Western Ghats, the Eastern Ghats. All these things, these are the places where I use the, where you have to be careful. Similarly, where you should omit these articles. The cannot be used before proper nouns. Before proper nouns, no article will be used. Omit articles. Before material nouns. Proper nouns is name. I cannot say the Rama. I cannot say the Chennai. Similarly, before Proper nouns I have to omit. Before material nouns like gold, silver, I cannot use the gold, the silver. I cannot use it before subjects, languages, the English. I cannot say the English. I can say the English when I refer to all the people who speak English, but not to the subject or language English. The English. I cannot use the here. Similarly, you have to be careful when I use half liter. I have to include half a liter. But if it is for half hour, I have to use half an hour. These are all small things regarding the articles. You will be easily fooled. I have a day. I have a day. What is the mistake in the sentence? I have a day. So, these are the things where you have to be very careful about regarding the articles. If you are thorough with these things, when you check the given sentence for the article, you will find if there is a mistake in that, you will find the error and easily detect. Now, after the article, let us go to acronyms. You know what is acronyms? AIDS, UNICEF, these are all acronyms. Contraction of each a bigger one. AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So all these acronyms, they are singular. AIDS is a killer disease. AIDS is a killer disease. This you should remember. And finally, the last thing in the articles that you should remember is this formula, LMNFSH. When any abbreviation starts with this LMNFSH, you use AN. You use AN. Whether it is LIC, whether it is MLA, whether it is NRI, or whether it is FI or whatever it is, STD, HMT, you use AN blindly. So, these are the little things that you should remember regarding the articles. Now, let us go to the singular plural nouns. Singular plural, you find certain words will always be used in the singular, always singular. For example, news. It might end with yes, but it is a singular. No news is singular. No news is good news. News. Similarly, politics, civics, economics, all the physics, any subjects like that, civics, politics, games like chess, billiards, these are always used in the singular. Similarly, there are also certain words like information. This is information only, I cannot use it as informations. This is luggage, I cannot use luggages. Furniture, no furnitures, furniture only. But if I want, I can use it as pieces of furniture. Pieces of furniture. No yes, plural form, pieces of furniture. Similarly, I can use this word business, no businesses, business, hair, machinery, luggage, baggage, all these things, they are used in the singular. And there are certain things like scenery. I cannot say sceneries. Similarly, I cannot say poetry. Poetries cannot be said. Poetry is poetry. So this is always singular. No news is good news. Politics is my favorite subject. Billiards is an interesting game. He has had a haircut. Haircut will not come. The porter carried my luggages is wrong. Luggage. Similarly, advice. Advice. He gave me a lot of advices is wrong. A lot of. Here, this is a tricky word. You have to be careful. They might give it as advice also. Spelling might be changed. You have to be careful in finding it out. In British English, advice is a verb, whereas advice is a noun. This is the correct noun form. So, these are all the things which is always used in singular. There are always certain nouns which are used in the plural. They will always be used in the plural form. For example, you will have police, cattle, poultry, gentry, artillery, livestock, people, children. These are all nouns which will always be used in the plural form. I cannot say the police has, the police have, the cattles will be given, which is again done. It is already in the plural. I see many of your children making this mistake in this word. Child is the singular form of children. But many of them write children's. And when they speak also they use this word. There are many children's playing, which is very absurd. That you have to be very careful. These are the nouns that will always be in the plural form. Now, there are other words also in plural forms like scissors, like spectacles. These are all ending in scissors, spectacles, tongs, pliers, all these things. These are goods. These are always used in the plural form only. The question will be, where is my spectacles? What you will do is, where is my spectacles is correct, but this verb is used is singular. So I have to change it into are. Where are my spectacles? Even if this is given like this, where are my spectacles? Again there is a mistake. See, that question mark should also be there. You should be very careful to note that also. Okay. Spectacles plural, so are will be there. So these are the words that will always be coming in the plural form. Now there are certain words that will come both in singular as well as in plural form. They will come both in singular as well as in plural form. Now let us look at some of the words. You see this word deer, sheep, aircraft, corpse, series, innings. These are some of the words, swine. These are some of the words that will come both in the plural as well as in the singular. There is a deer in my garden. There is 2 deers. There are 2 deers in my garden. Is this right now? I said deer is used for both singular as well as for plural. There are 2 deer in my garden. So, you have to be careful with these words. You should not make any mistake in the singular plural. This is regarding the singular plural. You have certain more words, compound words like son-in-law, where the plural of son-in-law is not son-in-laws, but it is sons-in-law. Similarly, you will have daughter-in-law, daughters-in-law. Lookers on is right. Similarly, passer-by. What is the plural form of passer-by? It is passers-by. A tricky one is here, man-hour. Man-hour, it is not men-hour, it is man-hours. This is a tricky one, man-hours. Similarly, you will have man-servant, men-servants, men-servants, woman-servant, women-servants, maid-servant, maid-servants, not maids. So, there are some other tricky words like proof. The plural of proof is not proofs. Is a verb. The plural of proof is proofs. Similarly, the plural of belief is adding s, beliefs. Piano, adding s, pianos. You have to be mouse. There is this word mouse. It is not mouses. It is mouse. This vocabulary should have been strengthened from your lower classes, and I hope you would not be faltering in this. So, after the nouns, let us go to the usage of pronouns. The usage of pronouns. When I use this pronoun, say Rama and me went to the market. This is Rama and it should be subjective. Rama and I went to the market. Similarly, when it is, I cannot say I and Rama went to the market. I cannot use this I first. I will use it at the end. Rama and I went to the market. Next, suppose if he, you, I, three pronouns are given in a sentence, then how will you use that sentence? Remember, you keep the third person at the center. Use the donkey last. Always use the donkey. The donkey is I. Use the donkey last. That is the first person. Then the second person. So the answer is you, he, and I went to the market. Went to the market. At the same time, if it is something mischievous, something erroneous, something which is naughty or something which is bad or a mistake, I should take care. This should be in the inverted form. I should take the blame first. When there is some mischief or when there is some error or mistake, that I, again the third person he, how do I use it? You, he, and I went to the market. This is the first form. I think I didn't write it here. You, he, and I. Second person, third person, first person, when something is informative or something is good or anything. If something is mischievous, naughty, or erroneous, I use I first. I, he, and you are responsible for this loss. For something which is bad, I use first person first, the third person, and the second person will come. It will be inverted. This is the order regarding the pronouns. Similarly, I cannot use myself is a reflexive pronoun. A reflexive pronoun will not be coming as a subject. Rama and myself went to the market, went home. I cannot use myself as a subject. I will have to use I. Rama and myself. A reflexive pronoun will not come as a subject. Similarly, a simple sentence will be given. Myself can do it. Myself can do it. What is the error in this? I can do it myself. This is the correct form. This is the wrong form. So that should be remembered. The next thing in the pronoun that you should remember is possessive forms. Possessive forms: yours, ours, theirs, hers, its. All these possessive pronouns will never carry an apostrophe mark. There should be no apostrophe mark. Even in the letter writing, when you write yours faithfully, I should never put this apostrophe mark. That you should remember. Yours, ours, theirs, hers, its. All these things will never carry an apostrophe mark. Similarly, lifeless objects. Lifeless objects will not be shown in the possessive form. For example, the tree's leaves fell down. The tree's leaves fell down. I cannot use a lifeless object, trees. The house's walls fell down. I cannot use this lifeless thing. I have to use the walls of the house. The walls of the house. The leaves of the tree. Lifeless objects cannot have apostrophe mark. And when I denote an indefinite noun, one must keep his promise. One must keep his promises. Again, this is also wrong when given in the error. When one is used, I have to use one only. One must keep one's. Here I will say one's promises. One must keep one's promises. So these are the things that you are having regarding to pronouns. Similarly, let me solve the problem. Let me solve the problem. I cannot use this. Let me solve the problem. Let us solve the problem. Let us solve the problem. And the last thing in the pronoun is you have to be careful. Enjoy, in this word enjoy. He enjoyed in the river. He enjoyed in the river. Here, he enjoyed. I have to use a reflexive pronoun, himself. He enjoyed himself. Suppose it is she, it will be herself. We, ourselves. They, themselves. Enjoy, avail, all these things will carry reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns will be following these words. Similarly, in this word enjoy, you like, he enjoyed. Gerunds will also be there. Swimming. He enjoyed eating ice cream. These gerunds will become, that is different. Here I am talking about a reflexive. He enjoyed in the river. He enjoyed himself in the river. That you should understand regarding the pronouns. Let us go to the next segment, adjectives. If there are any errors in adjectives, how to detect them. Adjectives, see, little. Little is a negative, a little is positive. Positive. Similarly, few is negative, a few is positive. All these things. There is little water in the jug means there is nothing, no water. Few persons attended the class means hardly any. There are a few students means something positive. That you should remember. In the adjectives, mostly in the degree of comparisons, you will be having many errors. We have these 3 degrees: positive degree, comparative degree, superlative degree. The positive degree, the structure is either so, as, base form of the adjective or adverb, as. Comparative takes or, than. The superlative, the, superlative degree form, then it is followed by a noun. Similarly, if it is one of the superlative nouns. Superlative will carry the, then the superlative degree adjective will be there, then the noun, if it is one of the superlative and nouns. This is the structure. This vocabulary should be known. For the base big, it is bigger, biggest. These all you should have studied in the 6th, 7th, 8th standards. You should be thorough with these. For good it is not gooder, it is better, it is best. That should be studied by you. That should be known to you. This is the structure. For a positive, I will have no other followed by a noun. Similarly, either it will be no other or it will be very few. When it is very few, it should be followed by a noun. The sentence, how they will trick you is, no other boys in the class. Something will become. Some no other will have a noun. That is what I have written now. It should not be noun. Similarly, very few boys. It cannot be very few boys, it should be very few boys. In comparative degree, in comparative it is in the ER or the vocabulary form, whatever it is, then followed definitely by than. There is only one place where than will not come. A comparative degree is comparing two things. If I say A is the Ram is the tallest of the two. When I am using two people, I cannot use the superlative degree. And I am using I cannot use the superlative degree. I should see when two things are used, I should use only the comparative degree, taller of the two. I should use only the taller of the two. So this should be seen. Similarly, other structure for this is, I should see is any other noun, most or many other nouns. You will be easily tricked here. For example, if I say the Nile is the longest river in the world. Was clearly the is used before the river. Okay, is the longest. This is in the superlative form. Now, if I want to change it into the comparative form, I say the Nile is longest. What is the comparative form? Longer. What will be the structure? Than. And what is the other thing I said? Any other. The Nile is longer than any river in the world. Actually, they will give you a sentence like this: the Nile is longer than any river. What is the word that is missing here? The word other is missing. So you have to be very careful. Or they might say the Nile is longer than any other. Or they might say the Nile is longer than. It is not then, it is than. So these are the things that you should be careful. If it is one of the longest rivers, Nile is one of the longest, the Ganges is one of the longest, the noun should be plural. Longest rivers. Then the Ganges is longer than, it is not any, but it can be many or most. Most other rivers. Again, that plural form should be there. This word other should also be used. So, when further in this, when when I use a degree in the sentence, that same degree should be maintained in that sentence. When I use comparative, the more one earns, more one wants. What is the mistake here? The more. I cannot use the most. I cannot use the superlative. The more is comparative. I should use the comparative only. The degree should be maintained. I can give you an example sentence. The higher you go, the difficult it is to breathe. Is the sentence right? Is this right? The higher you go, the difficult it is to breathe. Is it right? Definitely not. The higher is comparative degree, so I have to use the more difficult it is. The comparative degree should be used. So, this is what you should be looking into adjectives. I will give you one set here. See this, one of the, any one of the, some one of the, every one of the, either of the, neither of the, one, either, neither, all these things should be noted. When it is half, the noun that comes here should be in the plural form, and the verb that I use here should be in the singular form. One of the boys, I should say, not look happy, I should say in the singular form, it is looks happy. Any one of the boys, every one of the boys, everyone, when in the present tense, you should see that you use the singular form. Past tense, it doesn't matter. Either of the, neither of the, either of the boys are present. That is wrong. Either of the boys, it is not are, it is singular. Is. This is one thing which you should remember. Similarly, you have these words, a lot of, a plenty of, most of, a lot of, plenty of, most of, all these things, some of this naturally will be. When these things come, the noun that comes here, it will be plural when it is uncountable. When it is countable, plural form. When the noun here is uncountable, and the noun here is uncountable, it takes the singular form. Let me give you an example. A lot of trees have been planted. A lot of trees have been planted. Here I told you, when the noun here is countable, trees can be counted, and trees can be counted. Countable, I have to use plural form. When I use a lot of sugar have been added. Here sugar is uncountable, I cannot use have, I use have. So this formula you remember. This many a, remember this many a. When the word many a is there, the noun here should be singular and the verb used should also be in the singular. Many a tree, many a trees have been planted. It is wrong. Many a tree has been planted. That you should be careful about. 2 minutes. The last thing, another formula which I want to use, either or, neither nor. First, when a sentence starts with neither is given, you check. When it is neither, you check whether the word nor is there or not. When either is given, you check or is given or not. Now, you will be having two noun or nouns, whatever it is. If it is this, neither nor either or, always follow the second noun. The verb should qualify the second noun. If the second noun used is singular, either you change the singular and change the plural side here and make the verb plural, or if it is plural, you use plural. I will show that with one example. For example, neither Ram nor Sita. Here, Sita is singular. So, I have to, the verb should be singular. Neither Ram nor his friends. Here, his friends is plural, so the verb should be plural. So, the idea is based on the second noun. Suppose if they had given the sentence, neither his friends nor Ram. I can use singular here, or I can invert this. I can put Ram here. I can put Ram here and use these friends here and then make it plural. So neither nor either or, the verb is based on the second noun. Similarly, as well as, with, along with, together with, when in addition to, when these connectors are used, and when there are nouns, noun or nouns, when the noun or nouns are used here, along with these connectors, the verb should be based on the first noun. The verb should be based on the first noun. Suppose I hear the teacher along with the students, Here, students is plural, teacher is singular. The verb should be, the connector is along with. So, the verb should be based on the first noun, that is teacher. Teacher is singular, so I say the teacher along with the students goes on a picnic every year. I cannot say go, it should be goes, because this verb is, teacher is singular, so I use singular. This is the thing that you should remember as far as this class is concerned. We will continue with this in our next class.